My name is Robert Walti Sr. I was born August 3rd, 1920, Santa Fe, Ohio, Clay Township. My parents were Carl and Ida Schroyer Walti. I was raised in the Depression. So was your grandpa. Dad always had a job. He was only making $98 a month. Can you imagine that? But we always had plenty to eat, thanks to our grandmother, Grandma Schroyer, and Grandma Walti too. And Grandma Schroyer the most. And we, I dare say it, we had fresher food back then than what a lot of it that we eat now. And all Grandma Schroyer had was a root cellar and an old wooden ice box with a chunk of ice in it. And we always had a wonderful meal on Thanksgiving. We looked forward to Thanksgiving just as much as Christmas when we were kids, because we didn't get any Christmas presents. One year we did. And one year, our fourth grade teacher, my fourth grade teacher, her church brought us, we only got one church basket all that time. We was never on relief. I took a full-time job in the dairy when I was a sophomore in high school at Medigold Dairy. I worked in the dairy several years before I went in, well, from the time I was a sophomore till I was drafted in 1944 into the Navy. Pearl Harbor was bombed on December 7th, 1941. I was at Dad's house when we got the word. And I'm at a loss for words right now. That was the start of World War II, as war was declared right away on Japan. I was drafted in May 1944, and I passed the physicals. The doctor even told me I had perfect heart and lungs, and I had my choice of branch, and I chose the Navy because I wanted to learn how to swim. And the big surprise was when I was sent to Sampson, New York for boot camp, as your grandfather had went in the same week. He went in on Wednesday, I think it was. He was sent to Great Lakes. And I thought, oh, I'll be able to maybe see him there, but they said he's a Sampson. And we was the first group from here to go to Sampson, New York. Upstate New York is a beautiful place. Nice vineyards and apple orchards. Boot camp was 9 weeks of vigorous training. I was in the best shape of my life at the end of the 9 weeks. And then I was in the outgoing unit for a week, and I was assigned to radar school in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And you know what radar is. Radio detection and ranging, that's the definition. And that was 3 or 4 weeks, I just don't recall exactly. But then I was sent to Camp Bradford for amphibious training. That was a good bit like Army training, combat training. And we trained in the swamp there at Camp Bradford. And then our crew was formed, and we had shakedown cruises on an LST in Chesapeake Bay. And then after that, our crew was sent to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to pick up a brand new LST, 843. It was in December. It was launched into the river, and we went aboard. We went all the way down the Ohio River to where it empties into the Mississippi at Cairo, Illinois, and all the way down the Mississippi to New Orleans. And there the mast was put on our ship because it couldn't have it going down the river, kind of the bridges and so on. And after the mast was put on and the flag put up, it was commissioned. After they put new screws on the ship, after coming down the river where it had hit a lot of debris and the screws was all battered up, we got new screws, and then we done a shakedown cruise in St. Andrew Bay. And we put in at Panama City, Florida. Then we went back to New Orleans and loaded up all kinds of supplies, everything we needed. And we headed for the Panama Canal. And we went all the way around to San Diego, California. And we had, the crew had one Liberty there, and then we left for the Pacific. Yeah, it was right after we went through the Panama Canal. And it was a freshwater lake. And we had a swimming party. And they lowered the ramp, and we jumped or dove off the ramp to swim. But we had to wear a, they called them a Mae West life jacket. It was just an inflated thing around the middle. And I was on the deck, and a big fella pushed me in off of the ramp, and I went into a dive, and my dove right through that thing. It was clear down to my ankles, almost come off. I told you in the beginning I chose the Navy so I could learn to swim, and I did. And it turned out our chief petty officer in charge of the company, that was the first complete swimming company that he ever had. They always had some non-swimmers on the others that never made it. Ours was the first company that he ever had complete swimming. Everybody could swim. Our first stop was Pearl Harbor, then the Marshall Islands, and then the Carolines, then Okinawa. We had 3 fellows. One of them was chronic seasickness. The other 2 lost their mind. We had to take one of them off in a straitjacket. He was trying to kill himself. I can see that yet. D-Day at Okinawa was Easter Sunday, April 1st. That was the only battle I was in. Got 1 Bronze Star. We took troops from Okinawa back to the Philippines and got new troops and brought back to Okinawa. I was on the radar gear all the time during general quarters, and that's what we was at all the time. That's why we didn't get hardly any sleep. Oh, I didn't mention the kamikaze airplanes, but that was terrible. We got hardly any sleep, and several of the boys were caught sleeping, and they were punished for it. But I almost went to sleep. Okinawa surrendered at the end of June, and it lasted for 3 months. 1 battle. That was enough.
What specifically your duties were on the
Oh.
ship? Like what you had to do, what your day-to-day was?
Yeah. I was a radar operator. And when I was off duty, my job was correcting charts. You understand what? In war, the charts change a lot. A lot of wrecks, sunken ships, and that's all forwarded to all the ships, and they have to correct their charts. And that's what I did. And boy, it was a full-time job, correcting charts. And I learned how to do dead reckoning too, but I've forgotten it. I don't remember it now. But correcting charts was a big job. And then whenever we was going into port or going out, I was always on the radar. And while we was underway, we had just regular 4-hour watches, 4 on and 4 off, and that's in wartime I'm talking about. Our skipper, we nicknamed him Iron Jaw. Never saw him smile, only till when the war was over. It's the only time he smiled. And he was mean to his officers underneath him. He'd reach out and push him like that on the shoulder, just push him around, and that wasn't nice. We nicknamed him Iron Jaw.
You saw him pretty daily?
Oh, yes. I saw him all the time. He was always on the bridge when I was on the gear. But I know he had respect for me. I only had one guy aboard the ship that I couldn't get along with. In fact, he put me on report one time because I back-talked to him, told him what to do. And he put me on report, and I got a 4-hour gun watch out of it. But that was nothing. But ironically, just a few days later, I went into the head, and there he was washing down the walls of the head. You know what the head is? Okay. He had while he was cleaning the wheelhouse, he left a signal corps radio out on the deck, the boat deck, and he got rained on. And that's what he was punished for. When the war was over, our skipper broke out medical alcohol. You know what that is?
Isopropyl?
Yeah. Not rubbing alcohol, grain alcohol. Pure stuff. He mixed it with orange juice and passed it. I couldn't drink it, it was too strong for me. But a lot of, and whiskey bottles come out of and you're not supposed to bring any back aboard, and a whole bunch of the guys had whiskey bottles. They all got drunk. Boy, we really got a lecture the next day from the captain. Yeah, this was after the war was over.
Celebrating.
Yeah. So you guys are still in the Navy. And boy, he put us to work, swabbing the decks and everything else. We were loaded up with MacArthur's occupation troops, and we took 2 loads of them to Tokyo, October the 10th. Typhoon. We were loading troops for our first trip to Japan, and we just got one truck loaded, lashed down on the top deck. We got word that the typhoon was coming, and skipper called special detail and was going to ride the storm out. We got 13 miles offshore and it hit us. And the storm lasted for 5 hours. That's where the flag was all torn up, and it tangled up on my radar antenna. And then I asked the division officer, Mr. Hope, for the flag, and he gave it to me the next day, or on the 12th, he gave it to me. But that storm lasted 5 hours, and we got back into Okinawa about 5 o'clock the next day. The tailwinds lasted way into the next day after the 10th. On the second trip, I became eligible for discharge, so I was transferred to the USS Mendocino troop ship at Yokohama, and left Yokohama October the 29th to come home, and stood in at San Francisco. I was kept there at Treasure Island until I got a berth on the train to come home, and I was discharged November the 21st, the day before Thanksgiving, in 1945. I was in the Navy just short of 2 years.
What was it like coming home for Thanksgiving, being right there?
Oh yeah, it was wonderful. But Dad picked me up in Toledo, and everybody was there at Dad's, including my wife and kids. We were all very happy. You remember that song, I had trade all my tomorrows for one yesterday? Do you remember that song? If I could do that, it would be one of Thanksgiving at home, when all the kids were still home, Dad and Mom. Our first reunion was after 50 years, and it was held at Virginia Beach. That's where our crew first got together. And oh, what a wonderful time. Ian McLean was my best buddy. He was in that picture with me. And he was a signalman third class, and I was a radarman third class. And that's the same as a buck sergeant in the Army. And we had 12 reunions. Here's another mini reunion at my other buddies. Here's a good picture. That's at way down in Harrisburg, Mississippi. My wife and kids, Margaret Walti, and 3 daughters and 2 sons. Sandra and Janet and Donna Gale, my daughters, and Bob, Robert Walti Jr., and Timothy Joe Walti, my sons. and two stepsons, Tom and Terry Byler. Oh, the friendship with the guys.
Hey, good job, Uncle Bob.
Oh,
Got a
I
memory like
wish
a
I could
steel
have done
trap.
better. I'm sure it'll be better after you edit it.